What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of The Word on Woodward. I'm your host, Daniella Bruce, alongside my co-host, Art Regner, and joining us today, all the way from Denver, Dan Dickerson, your Tigers radio play-by-play announcer. Dan, it's been so long. I'm so excited to have you on the show, and I understand you're moving your daughter into a new apartment, so we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Yeah, she decided she wanted a new life experience, and I'm all for it. It's like, hey, Dad, I want to try someplace new, meet new people. I'm like, go for it. Now's the time. So completed, long story short, her occupational therapy, got her, passed her boards and found a job here. So she's really excited. She's got some friends here, and this is, I never get tired of. She's got a view of the mountains out to the right of her door onto her balcony, so I never get tired of that view. She's excited, and it's been a busy few days. Towing a trailer into those headwinds was interesting.
Oh, man, I didn't even think about that.
When you said mountains, I just turned around and looked out my window like I was going to see them too.
Hey, I
and
get
all I
what John
see is a
Denver was
privacy
thinking.
fence.
Not quite. So now that we are in the Tigers offseason, Dan, you obviously have some time to unwind and reflect on what we saw in 2021. What were some of the advances that you saw the Tigers take, and what are you looking forward to about next season?
It's hard to describe, but just I think fans got a feel for it. Just that day-to-day progression from the beginning of spring training to the end of the year about how they're going to work every day. And it sounds boring, but I'm telling you, this is the secret to AJ Hinch's success with the staff that he has, that just you're coming to work every day and piece by piece, they got it. They understand, all right, what's a championship level of preparation? Not just we're going to get ready for today's game. What do the championship teams do? And that's the preparation that they brought to the ballpark every day. I mean, this is a team that took, this is just a little thing, but it stood out. They took infield almost every day. No team does that. No team does it usually more than once or twice a week. They're doing it almost every single day. No big deal, 10, 15 minutes, but this is how we're going to prepare. So that kind of level of preparation and the adjustments, getting the most out of their players, it was fascinating to watch. But you really did create. And I know AJ talked about it a lot, but it was a process to get there. It was really important to create that winning mindset. And you got a 77 win team out of that bunch, which was pretty darn good. And you got a lot of guys better. Now you've added some talent, and I want to see what happens in 2022.
Dan, it's really interesting you brought that up because I don't know if this is a new phenomena or not, and I think it covers all of professional sports where either the manager or the head coach speaks and the assistant coaches and those guys, you never hear from them. That's why I have the old Chris Fetter joke that he's a hologram. But my point is this: is that maybe I'm overthinking this because I don't remember a whole lot of interviews with Tony Cuccinello or somebody back in the day. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I'm kind of curious. The more I think about it, maybe I like that. And that just plays into what you're saying, where AJ Hinch sits down and says, fellas, this is what we're doing today. Let's just go out and do it. So maybe this one message from one person might be better to keep the team on point and focused.
No, I think that's a good point. And he didn't allow, as you know, access to his coaches. By the time I had traveled for a couple of months, I got to the point where I could at least have a sit down chat with them off the record. So, but that was different. But I understood what he was doing. I absolutely got it. He wanted one voice to be, and he didn't want Chris Fetter saying something that, maybe he said, unintentionally different from what AJ said and vice versa. It's like, why have anything like that? No, you guys can talk to him. And he's made that point to the media, too, that are around every day. Once the season's, once kind of normal access, whatever that's going to look like in the future, resumes, you're going to be able to have those conversations off the record. But I think it is important to him that it all comes from him in terms of the one voice. He lets his coaches do a lot. And he just, he just wants to convey what's going on behind the scenes through his eyes, based on all the conversations that he has with his coaches and players. So it made sense. I think it was frustrating for a lot of people, but it makes sense. And he's got a vision and he's got a way that he wants to do things, and they executed that this year.
I really want to ask you, I guess the big question this season is Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson, are they making the team out of training camp, out of spring training? will we see Riley Greene patrolling center field at all of 21 years old, and then Spencer Torkelson playing first base when the Tigers open up the season, whenever that may be, in wherever they're going to be? Will those two guys be wearing that Old English D, Dan?
It's a good possibility for both. I think Riley Greene seems to have a little better chance. The one thing that I think fans have to know is that the Tigers have zero track record of playing the service time manipulation game. When guys are ready, they bring them up. It's just, that's how they've always done it. Other teams have done it quite blatantly, but the Tigers just don't have a track record of doing it. And so the decision will be based on performance in the spring. And for AJ Hinch, I think, as he said, I've still got a little PTSD from watching Spencer Torkelson strike out in spring training last year. What was it, 16 times and 25 at bats? He's like, so I want to see I want to see this guy make a little contact, and he's got to show that. It's not a great time to evaluate people, but these are guys who are going to be evaluated in spring training. And I think the really interesting thing, AJ Hinch loves it, that, okay, you're a star, you're a future star, maybe, but there's going to be all eyes on you guys in spring. There will be pressure, but it's going to be self-imposed. It's if you can tune that out and just realize all the work you put in and your skills, and you listen to us and you work hard every day, tune all that out. But he wants to see how they handle the pressure. Good. If they struggle in the spring, they're not going to make the team. If they are both lights out in the spring, and there is a chance that absolutely could happen, then I think they will both be on the opening day roster.
My question to you is, we've talked about Torkelson, we've talked about Greene, guys that are not on the 40-man roster right now. Who are some of the surprises that can get them to that 90 mark win that might have an impact on this team that we might have heard about, but they're really on the cusp, as well as Torkelson and Greene are, of making this team?
Put it this way, for fans, look at the guys in the minor leagues who put up some pretty good numbers at AA, A-ball, or AA, AAA, because those, you will always need more pitching than you have, always. And there were quite a few guys who came up this year and made contributions that I don't think the Tigers were quite expecting. The guys coming back from surgery who have promise. You've got guys in the lower levels with big arms. Keep an eye on the guys who are getting close to the major leagues, because they're not afraid to jump a guy from AA, or a guy from AA who's just made a quick pit stop in Toledo on his way to the major leagues. But I think it's all about the pitching side of the equation. They'll be adding some more arms once this lockout ends to boost that, the depth. And keep an eye on those, because AJ Hinch all year long was keeping track of guys on other teams, maybe guys who came up and then went down for, Tampa's always got that revolving door, but he doesn't miss a thing. So he was clearly keeping a list in his head, probably wrote it down somewhere, of guys who could help if their current team thought, it was time to move on from them.
With all that said, what I'm really curious about, what does an announcer do in the off season? Now, if we were to go into your bathroom, do you have a bunch of throat sprays or things that you gargle with? Do you practice? Did you bring a bat? You're going to have your daughter, you're going to make a couple calls. Say, I got to work on it. When Torkelson hits his first homer, I want my call down, or Riley Greene gets his first homer, or, Faedo gets a no-hitter. I got to practice.
No.
Do you do anything like that? Are you scripting out all your things that sound like you've made them up?
There, make sure you have it scripted out.
So you look at all the possible milestones that a player could reach, and you've already know what you're going to say, right?
Man.
It's all pre-canned.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to. And usually I'll just point to the engineer behind me, and he'll know which one I want him to queue up, and then drop it in, and I drop out because I've already recorded it. And then I point, he hits number 32, and we get the call in, make sure that
AJ Hinch,
I just try to
AJ Hinch, your manager of the year. Congratulations.
Try to stay in shape, so my voice stays in shape. And then, you know what I am doing, which I think is so interesting, transcribe. I've never done this before. I had our intern all summer transcribe as many AJ interviews as possible, our pre-games and some of the media sessions, because there's always so much information. I can't possibly take notes. So I had him transcribe him. The ones he didn't transcribe that I'm transcribing. That's how much information I felt like was in each one of those interviews. And it just, adds to your baseball knowledge, but more than anything, helps you call the game because you could try to anticipate what AJ Hinch is going to do in this situation or why he made a certain move. That was the fun part of doing the manager show this year.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Like I said, we know you're traveling across country with your daughter, so we appreciate you taking a few minutes. And hopefully you'll get back for Christmas. Are you coming all the way? You're driving all the way back
fly home tomorrow.
Christmas, right?
Yeah, fly home on Friday.
All right. All right. Well, thank
Beautiful.
you, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We appreciate it.
All right. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you guys. Always good being on with you.
And that does it for this edition of The Word on Woodward. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.